How's everybody doing today? Let's go. Well, let me move this little squeaker here. What the hell? Let some people jump in here. We got a lot to go over here today, guys. A lot to go over. I know it feels like it because, like I said, everybody sits here and looks at the daily price action, and goes crazy. But I'm going to show you the overall picture here. Show you why I think they're attacking it, bring it to as low as they can. Because literally nothing makes sense. If you think about it, the price at this point is lower than when the doors were shut. On top of that, you had we've had 10 beats in a row, 2 positive earnings. There's so much things going forward than the box office next year. Wait until you see, I'll go over some movies next year. We're going to go over the box office numbers, projections, all sorts of things for AMC here. But next year, like I said, next year is when you're finally going to start to see a lot of this fundamentals paying off, a lot of this stuff. The box office is going to be a lot bigger. Distribution will be in full effect. We're going to get into a lot of this in a second here, but I'm just going to wait for a second. But how's everybody doing? Checking out the chat quick. Good, how are you? I can't. My wife has the bong upstairs, so can't smoke one yet today, but that's good. Do this one, yeah. But they're losing a lot of control on a lot of these commodities. I mean, you've seen a lot of these banks holding it down, like J.P. Morgan. They've known for spoofing the gold market. Ton of these commodities, they obviously have been lying about their assets with the nickel, all sorts of things. We're gonna get into J.P. Morgan here in a little bit. They're getting in a lot more trouble here as well, which is nice. So a lot of good stuff here. You're also seeing a bank that was too big to fail finally be delabeled too big to fail. So a lot of this stuff is going to start collapsing on them. You're seeing a lot of people move to money market funds, exactly like we said they were going to. But we got a lot of people here, so let's go ahead and start this thing. So if you guys look over here now at the box office, I don't think this is updated yet today, so I think it's still going to go a little higher. But by the end of the month, we'll be at about 1.1 billion. I still think and have said forever, I think December is our best month for this quarter. So we could still, we're going to have Godzilla this weekend. So, I mean, Beyonce, I still think that we can, get to 2 billion, 2.1. If we can get to that number, we should still be fine this quarter. Next year, the slate for movies is so much better. It's not even funny. Right now, I want to show you guys the box office as well and just show you the trend. Because we're going to get into next year with AMC's finances and just how much more revenue they're going to be able to generate next year compared to this year, and just how much better the box office is going to be. And at the rate that it's been going, we should finally get back to pre-pandemic levels, or pretty fucking close. So right now, if you guys look at the box office, this is year-to-year date. We're at over, 8 billion, 8.1. We should easily, I mean, this should get to about 9.5. But next year, I believe we should easily break, 10 and a half, 11 easily by just a slate of movies, along with the concert movies that are going to be produced by AMC next year that aren't even, on the list to be released. But, we get those out real quick. So, but let's get into this next year. So Taylor Swift, so one of the things I want to talk about first is just the distribution aspect alone. Because this year we just got a little taste. We just got it for that last month. You're already seeing Taylor Swift. It surpassed 250 million globally. Well, we're going to get a piece of all of that, which is super nice for AMC. If you guys look at the Beyonce thing, I just want to show you guys something real quick for the Beyonce thing as well. Taylor Swift made her tickets $13, so they were half the cost. If you guys look at the price of the Beyonce tickets, they're 22 to 32. So basically it's basically 2 to 1 for each of the ticket cost here. So we don't need as many people to get to a super high number, which that's nice. But let's go back over to this. So back to the distribution. Next year, Adam Aaron already said he had tons of people lined up. Talked about maybe having 7. He expected to have 7 next year, 7 in 2025. And if we can do that, like I said, think of how much money that's going to generate next year for AMC that they're not going to currently have. On top of that, we're going to be releasing popcorn. It's going to be on Amazon here. That's going to be massive for 2024. That's a whole bunch more, revenue that you weren't going to make before, that you didn't in 2023. On top of that, with the more of these concerts that are coming out here, one of the things Adam Aaron said was the biggest spike was the revenue in merchandise sales. Now he expects it next year to be over $100 million revenue stream, just selling, the popcorn tins, the Barbie cars, all of those type of things. And with the lineup next year, like I said, there's a lot more better movie quality movies coming out, like Deadpool 3, for an instance. I think that's going to kill it. Deadpool 3 should destroy it next year. On top of that, the biggest movie that was supposed to be released in 2023 was Dune 2, and that actually got moved into 2024. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys here real quick, before I keep going, we'll get into that idiot, is I want to talk about AMC, like I said, next year compared to this year. We're going to have our own candy line. So chocolates, all that's going to be released here right before Christmas. I could see that taking off, the numbers spiking, especially right before Christmas. You know, a lot of the apes are going to go out there. They're going to get it for their family members. So chocolate, and he said if the numbers do really well, he'll get it in stores, just like the popcorn, as soon as possible. So we could also have this candy in stores next year as well. So that's another massive revenue stream right there. People love chocolate. On top of that, you're going to have popcorn across every single grocery store. So that'll be nationwide. That'll be massive for us. We're going to have our own alcohol. The slate of movies are, like I said, we'll get into those in 1 second. I'm going to show you guys just some of the top movies. I didn't get into them all, but just the names alone, I'm going to show you. Like I said, the box office next year in 2025 looks even better. So it's just, like I said, where we're at right now and the stock price where it's at, it makes zero sense. We're at levels to where it basically is lower than when the doors were closed and they were just burning money away. On top of that, we got through the pandemic and we're out of it completely at this point. We're at a lower level. Most companies went under. So like I said, obviously we wish we would have raised a ton more of capital. We can go into what we did and didn't do. I'm not going to sit there and keep going into that. But like I said, next year, we don't have a writer's strike. We don't have an actor strike. So you're going to have a ton more content coming out. They're not going to have any of these movies getting pushed back. A lot of them actually got pushed forward. So what you can actually have happen is more movies set to release in 2025 potentially come earlier, because the problem is with these studios, they all got super greedy. They let the strikes go on so much longer than they needed to. Now, on top of that, a lot of people are sitting there canceling all their services. Why? They have no new content coming out for how long now? All the stuff that should have been coming out to keep people around is all gone. Now what? They got to wait 5, 6 months, 3, 4, 5 months before you get another couple quality things. Like I said, that was the dumbest thing that these guys could have done. And then on top of that, you're holding movies like, you know, like I said, Roadrunner and all that. You're holding that back. Well, that's got to come out. So on top of that, you're going to add Roadrunner next year to the thing. So like I said, there's going to be a lot more movies added to this. But I'm just going to go over some of these before we keep going down the list. So you got Dune 2. Hold on. I wrote a lot of these down. I just don't want to keep going back and forth through all the things here. You got Dune 2. You got Deadpool 2. Deadpool 3. You got Gladiator 2. You got Planet of the Apes. You got the next Joker movie. You got the next Transformers movie. I know this Fall Guy movie looks pretty funny. I think that should do very well. For kids, you got Kung Fu Panda 4. You got the next Sonic. You got Mean Girls. That should do very well. You got a Ghostbusters. You got another Godzilla. You got the next Quiet Place. You have Venom 3. You have the next Lord of the Rings movie coming out. That could kill it. On top of that, you have Twister. You have The Lion King. So you got another Spider-Man movie coming out. Like I said, I could keep going more and more into it. There's a ton more great movies, but just that lineup alone on those movies I said, that lineup alone on just what I just showed you is way better than I feel like than what we had already this year. Especially when it comes to like movies that hit a massive audience. But let me see here. So let me go back. Sorry. I should have put that idiot away. I don't know why I even have that guy on my screen anymore. But on top of that, we don't have ape stock. We don't have this other stock that they can sit there and attack, manipulate. And I know a lot of people think that these FTDs and all this, they're going to come out. They all got moved into bullish swaps and all this crap. They'll come out. These guys are going to... Here's the thing. A lot of people sit there and, you know, they think they got away with all this stuff. Well, Archegos thought they got away with it too. And all these other companies thought they got away with hiding these short positions. And guess what? Eventually they're going to come out. And here's the thing. This is one of the things that I wish people would understand, and when they see this come out, understand how much more it really affects us. These guys, these banks continuously come out. They continuously get fined. We were mismarking orders, millions and millions of orders. Now, this is billions and billions and billions of shares, you guys. Billions of shares. Billions of shares are being mismarked from one bank. Now you have another bank. Now you have another bank. And they're continuously mismarking. Now you could potentially have billions and billions and billions and billions in what? The most shorted stocks, the certain stocks that they need to hide, just being mismarked. On top of that, we're going to get into something else here. Another thing that they love to do is they attack you through the ETS, which we'll get into in a moment. Now, we will also, I said, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the NFL licensing. He said he was currently actively pursuing a licensing agreement. Now, I know it might not be done in 2024. It could be. It might be done in 2025. But the fact of the matter is he's talking to the NFL. And, I mean, that is a massive deal. That's a type of thing where you could potentially have people renting out theaters just for them and their buddies to go up there, have a good time. And then you got all these people will think, oh, do that, they're going to break the screens. No, they're not. They're not that stupid. They're just going there and bust screens. They're going to have somebody's credit card more than likely on file for that purchase. And if you rent the theater out, guess what? They know who rented it out, and they're going to come after them. It's the stuff people, and this is why I brought up this other guy, because it's the fun that people are coming up with, the stupidity. Because like I said, the amount of new revenue that's going to be coming in, generating next year could be in the billions and billions. On top of that, we're going into production. We're going into movies. And I told people we're going to start getting into movies. I still don't think that one, God, I can't remember his name. God damn it, the wine guy, Chapella or whatever. I still don't think we're out of the running for his movie. I still think we can end up doing distribution for that movie. I can't remember what it's called. Whatever his movie's called. It's supposed to be a massive one with the one with Shia LaBeouf. I guess I could look it up real quick. But the new movie's supposed to be a massive. We could still end up striking that deal. I mean, and here's the thing. We got a Roblox thing coming out. We got another movie called, where is this? Run Nixon coming out, another distribution. So we are getting into actual movies. And I believe we're going to keep getting into that harder and harder and harder. And like I said, next year, I think you're going to finally see your full distribution on display. And that alone can raise, like I said, billions. Even if he does 7, like I said, here's numbers alone. If he does 7 concert films, like he said, and they're top people, they're top artists, like he's talking about. If that comes out, let's just lowball them all and say, or not even lowball them all. Let's just say they all generate 100 to 150 million. You got a couple that do good. We'll say all 6 of them. Also we get like 900 million or $1 billion in distribution. Let's just say that. That's a massive new revenue. Like I said, that's huge, you guys. And on top of that, that gives us a way to get into production. And I showed you that there's already trying to get into, I can't remember the series. I was trying to find my video. I just have so many videos. I couldn't find it. We're trying to get into that. We're doing production on that TV series. So AMC, I could see them very easily getting into, in the next year or two, easily getting into movies. And one movie can generate hundreds of millions of dollars. So like I said, let the man cook, you guys. Next year is when, like I said, this entire time he's been cutting down we've been burning hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions. 260 million in some quarters. That's a fuck ton of money. And right now he showed you right now, hey, we're getting this, we're getting this, we're getting this. And box office is supposed to be even better next year, even better 2025. So by the time it's back fully, we should be thriving completely. And I know people are sitting there, oh, we gotta wait till 2024, 2025. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this company, right now everybody's worrying about price action today. But in a couple months, just on fundamentals alone next year, it could easily fucking jump up because there's no explanation, no reason. There's no reason right now AMC should be trading at this. There's no logical explanation. You cannot be trading at levels lower than when your doors were fucking closed, when you're profitable, when your debt is now back down to lower than, like I said, lower than pandemic levels. On top of that, you now have the ability to raise cash in case you're going to go bankrupt. And on top of that, like I said, you're generating more and more and you're getting into more and more revenue streams. Who knows what we're going to come up with next year? Like I said, we've already closed down negative 99 theaters and replaced them with, we closed down 156 theaters, bought 55, and those 55 are outperforming those other 156. It's all, like I said, you guys, we're a theater company. It's all about getting theaters that make profit and getting rid of the shitty ones that are burning it. That's how you get net flow positive. Like I said, next year is when we can finally start to see it. I don't see any quarter where we shouldn't be generating very, very good profit. Like I said, getting Dune 2 pushed up another 2 weeks in Q1, that alone should help us get to profitability. Like I said, next year, Q2, Q3 is stacked. Q4 is stacked. And on top of that, you'll have all of this implemented in. Like I said, everybody that's going nuts, freaking out, the dude's planting the seeds. Let the motherfuckers grow. Next year, they're about to grow. They just got their sunlight. Billy got his antibiotics. Motherfucker's doing rehab right now. Let him rehab. You know what I'm saying? First he said survive and then thrive. You're now past survival. We're past survival now. Now they're going to hit it as hard as they can because they want you as, oh man, right when fundamentals are about to turn around next year, right when they're going to have their alcohol, right when their profit, like I said, your guys' profit margins across the board are going to go flying up next year. When the box office should be going up by the billions. Like I said, I showed you guys like 15 insanely good movies, that type of quality movies we didn't have this year. Like I said, look at all those movies. Those are all, any of those could hit $1 billion. Any of those. That's a shit ton of good movies. Oh, and I forgot to say Beetlejuice. I remember, Beetlejuice was another one. You got Beetlejuice coming out. That should kill it. Like I said, you have a ton of movies next year that should destroy it. So, like I said, guys, just relax. Let this shit grow. Let this shit grow. Let the man cook for a minute. We're finally out of burning cash. We're finally getting away from that shit. Dilution, you're getting to the point where there's going to be no reason to, because you're going to pay it all down with profits. And all these idiots that are sitting there going, 2026 debt is insurmountable. No, you're a dumb fuck. Guess what's going to happen? He's going to sit here for the next 2 years, and he's going to pay debt down at a massive discount. So by that time, he's going to, I guarantee you, pay tons of that down. And then by then, if it gets to the point of too scary, they'll be able to refinance because they should still have over $1 billion in cash in the reserve to where they can do, all right, let's pay this up front and we can refinance. These guys that are going, oh, AMC will never be able to get past these debt and all this shit. Motherfucker, you haven't even seen what our goddamn distribution's going to do next year. You don't even know if we get out production or any of these things. You don't know what he's cooking right now. All I know that he's cooking is from where we were this point last year. This point last year, we burned $260 million. Well, this time we actually went positive. Like I said, the net turnaround, and that's his job. And this is the funny thing that cracks me up. Mark Cahodes, one of the biggest fucking AA haters, CEO haters. And like I said, these people that are sitting there freaking out, dude, open your eyes. Look at the rest of the market. Get out of this bubble. Every stock is getting fucked. All of them. GME was, until today, was getting dismantled. And this is the thing. I sit here and I watch. Most people didn't even know Matt Furlow. And no one even cared about him for long. No one even cared about him. No one even knew he was the CEO. And nobody gave a shit. When GME kept going down and down and down, they all sat by their guy. They all were like, yep, let's go. And unfortunately for them, they were able to raise enough capital, go debt-free right away. So their situation's a lot different. But I don't sit there and watch these. And I mean, like I said, you can sit there and compare them over and over and over. But I'm just looking at the community alone. You don't sit there and every fucking day. Hey, he also hasn't came out with a new revenue stream in 2.5 years. The only new revenue stream GME tried to do is what? An NFT marketplace that they canceled and closed down because it's failed. So he's also, like I said, I'm not saying they're not profitable. They just got profitable. But like I said, eventually, they got to come out with some new revenue streams too or something. But like I said, man, it's crazy to me. It's like everybody's sitting there, and Mark Cahodes, back to Mark Cahodes' dumbass. He sits here and he has interviews, and this is back when he was in his prime and all this shit. And he says the one thing. What do you say to CEOs that are under attack? Just shut your money, you shut your mouth, and turn things around with your company and make it profitable. That's the best thing a CEO can do. And then he goes, and that's exactly what's going on. And like I said, guys, everybody wants him to scream bloody murder. And I'm not just sitting here talking about AA right now, but it's like, fucking A, man. I need our community to just calm the fuck down. It's either you like AA You don't have to. Who cares about A? Like I said, we're all wearing the same basketball jersey in the day. You don't like the coach, I don't give a fuck. Plenty of people don't like the coach on their fucking professional teams. They don't give a shit. They still like the team and the message. And guess what? Retail last week bought 4.3 billion in stocks. We're not going anywhere. OBV shows you over and over. None of us are giving up. We all know what's going on. We're all still fucking buying. They can sit there and push it down, do their... we all know they can put a price down anything. Here we go. Here's an example on how can they also control price with ETFs. Well, let's see here. You're making ETF. You pretend there's all these shares in a fucking basket. And guess what they do? They loan them out. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. So we'll just get into the ETFs before we go back. So they're shutting down this meme ETF, okay? Well, this meme ETF, if you look at it, they loaned out 95% of this ETF was out on loan. So they'll sit there and they'll create ETFs and ETFs, and then you look over at the BlackRock ETFs. My buddy Herb looks at this stuff a lot as well. BlackRock, there's 6 AMC ETFs, 99.6% lend out, 100, 98, 99, 99, 100. Now, how many of those are false locates and used again? Like I said, it's a complete gong show on the shit that these guys can fucking do. So, the thing you want your CEO to do is start turning his... AMC, when we first got invested, the reason they were shorting the fuck out of the company was what? Because it wasn't profitable and it was losing money and the doors were shut. Well, guess what? They're now next year, we will be generating enough profits to where, again, dilution shouldn't be needed. We should be paying down debt at a discount going forward, nonstop. We should be doing nothing but paying it down at a discounted price. On top of that, he should still, now that he has over $1 billion in the reserve, like I said, I don't think he would need to. But if he ever did dilute again, I would only see it need it ever again one more time. Because like I said, at that point, everything should be completely grown. Your flowers should be grown. Your distribution should be in full effect. Your own alcohol should be in effect. Your own popcorn, your own food, everything about your store. The thing that makes you your biggest profit margin is there. The box office numbers should be back. And that's what you continuously tell us you need is the box office numbers back. Because everything is set up for once it's back. Our profit margins are higher than ever. We might be even distributing the movies in our theater at that point. One second here. Buddy, please. Or if he has to make his puppy's appearance. But like I said, on top of that, merchandise, everything, like I said, the amount of money we should be able to generate compared to this year. And they're already showing you they're profitable this year. Well, next year, like I said, it should be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions more, if not billions more. So I'm excited for next year. So everybody, just relax. Just relax. Let this shit cook. Like I said, the man's making a souffle. Just let it bake. Calm down. Stop screaming. That shit's gonna flatten out, dude. But like I said, the slate of movies alone, like, and if you're not sitting there thinking that, I named off 15 movies that will all do better than that. Like I said, think of the audience on all of those movies I named off. Now Google, if you're just sitting there listening, quickly Google best movies or most anticipated movies of 2024. Say top 50, and then read them all, and you're gonna go, holy shit! The quality of movies are 1,000 times better than this year. I'm telling you. Now, this is what's driving me nuts. But like I said, no more strike, none of this shit. This is all the hurdles that he's been talking about. They're finally jumped over. Next year, man, we got a straight track ahead of us. Straight track ahead of us. Now, this kid's an idiot because I'm sick of these stupid videos and these morons getting so many views. And then they spread the hate, and it's just like, we just got to point it out and just say, this guy is the fucking dumbest guy I've ever... If you listen to this guy, stop. You're just hurting yourself at this point. This idiot says today, or yesterday, this is the guy, and this is my problem. This is the idiot. The reason I bring this guy up, I don't just show any YouTubers, because I don't give a fuck. This is the same idiot that wanted to be on the board of AMC. This is the guy that went around campaigning on Twitter, YouTube. I gotta get on the board, you guys. Like, how fucking dumb is this guy? So then he comes on today or yesterday, and he goes, and all 200 comments of these are like, yeah, you're right. We gotta fucking, and it's like, God, okay, just call it out quick and then move on with their lives. This video, all he talks about is the reason AMC is fucked up in everything is because they use the same auditors that fucking Lehman Brothers used. Who cares? You also forgot to say that this is the third biggest fucking auditing company in the world. Not in the US, the world. So you're telling me one of the biggest companies in the world uses one of the biggest auditing firms in the world, and that's your proof that everyone's out to get us? Stop falling for this shit. Stop listening to this shit. This guy's a moron. So the other 7,000 companies they manage, the other 7,500 companies that they manage, what's wrong with them? Because they didn't go under. So what's your excuse? And then he goes, you guys, next time we gotta fucking vote. And I only say this because this shit's getting like 5,000 views, 7,000 views, and it's like, holy fuck. And these idiots are all like, yeah, we're gonna vote this. He goes, the only reason they don't want us to vote for the fucking exchange is because this company's hiding all of it, and if they switch over to a new company, they'll expose the billions of stuff. No. What's going to happen is it's going to cost AMC a lot of time, headaches, and all this shit and projects that they don't need to fucking deal with. Now they got to focus on that crap, and time and energy they don't need to waste because they're trying to make money and come up with new revenue streams every fucking month. Stop listening to these retards. That's all I'm going to say on that guy and that shit, because I had all of these fucking... Dude, I must have had 20 DMs today on this guy. Did you see this? They're out to get us because they use Ernest and fucking Young, which everyone's used, and they've used before Adam Aaron and everybody else. They've used them for fucking ever. Yes. Now, this Roblox movie, like I said, next year, like I said, guys, we cooking. Let us cook a little more. Next year, we're in profit zone going forward. The reason they shorted us was because we weren't making profits. Next year, we should not only be making profits, we should be managing debt down with those profits. Now, this other movie, like I said, it was called Run Nixon. If you guys want to check it out, exclusively in AMC theaters. This is another one where we got distribution rights on. And that's the thing. And that's one of the things with AMC. Let's say they start getting some of these movies. Even if these other guys are trying to focus, I'm not going to sit there and play your movies. Oh, well, I guess they'll just go on the biggest theater, the company that has the most screens in the United States. Big deal. Like I said, we can sit here and take as many of these movies, if they are good, get into that, putting them out into our theater, and our theater alone can make us such a massive revenue. It's not even funny. Like I said, next year, distribution alone, I can't even tell you how much it's going to bring, because I don't know what fucking people we're going to have, so I don't want to sit there and put any numbers up. But like I said, even if you have 7 guys, like he said, and they all bring in 100 to 150 million, it's a huge amount of revenue, dude. Now, this is good news. This thing shuts down, by the way, on December 13th, but this is another ETF. So technically, they'll have to re-get the shares that they loaned out. They'll have to repurchase those shares. So on December 13th, you should logically see a spike on AMC's price, because they should technically have to repurchase the shares that were in the ETF, because they're going to liquidate them out. So we'll see what's going on here. But like I said, that's good for AMC. That's less shares out there that they have their control on, and they're sitting there fucking lending out and being there fucking doing their hands in the cookie jar. Fuck BlackRock, fuck Vanguard, all those corporations. We already knew they were lending them out, but like I said, you have 100%, 99% of these lent out. How many of those that are lent out are now being used again as another locator? Again, like I said, it's just fucking ridiculous. It's so stupid. ETFs are just a complete fucking gong show. But let's start getting into some great news. Let's start getting into great news, because there's a lot of great news to get into. So, one of the things we've always talked about is we need the feds to get fucked. And we also need these banks to get fucked. Because who's their creditor? Who's their lenders? Who's going to do the margin calls? It's these guys. Now, when these guys start to feel the pain, they're going to have to go knocking on these motherfuckers to get their margin calls. It's no longer going to be yeah, we'll let this slide. Yeah, we'll do this. Here, we'll open up a new contract and give me a new collateral. We'll let this go. We can do this. We can do that. Well, like I told you, the Fed are now
losing money. And I'm going to show you in a second here. They're losing money. Not only are they losing money, their unrealized losses have amounted to fucking 1 trillion. We'll get into that in a second too. The Fed's ink is to the point where it's like, dude, they're gonna have a lot of problems. They're gonna have a lot of problems. They have a lot of problems on their hands, and they're getting to the point where they can't bail these guys out. They're not gonna be able to keep letting these guys do this and that and this and that. And one of the things you guys got to remember is next year in 2024 of March, guess what? That the federal bank, like their reserve facility, guess what? They got to pay those back. They don't have that money to pay those back. What the fuck are the feds gonna do? They can't take it. They can't take another. Oh yeah, we're already fucking burning money. Our assets are fucking going crazy. Our unrealized losses are going crazy. But let us take another $1 trillion hit over here. They can't. Hundreds of billions over here. They can't do that. They can't keep doing what they're doing. And eventually they're going, all right, something's going to have to change here. Or we're going to have to let some of these people go under. And they're already giving you guys, you already have the big people talking about it now. You already have these, I've already been telling you guys, you're going to start seeing these middle banks go down. And this is the thing. You're going to see a couple of these middle banks, and this is what I'm telling people. When it comes to credit unions, you know, and these banks, when I say these smaller banks, like a local mom and pop bank isn't that bad. The way that they can default, or the way that bank can go under, is if all of a sudden all these people get fucked up and they have to default on their auto loans, or you know, because they're not, the smaller banks aren't out there just smashing down home loans. That's the difference between, and they're not out there, the derivatives and doing all this crazy shit. The small mom and pop banks, what they're doing, you know, they're out there. Sorry, give me 1 second here. I had to sneeze. Sorry about that. So, what these mom and pops, they're not out there doing that stuff. They need their deposits. They're not out there risking shit like crazy. And sorry, and they're not out there, you know, with these predatory loans on these car loans. So chances are these loans are a lot less of a rate percent. Because that's the thing with these credit unions, these smaller banks. They always give you better rates than these giant fucking banks. But the giant banks are going to go out and they're going to go, hey, I'll give you it now. I'll take it at a better rate because I can afford it. Well, that's the other thing with these smaller banks. They're going to only take these loans where you give them the 20%. So you don't have to pay that other. The bank doesn't take these risks. They're not going to take these 5%, 10%, 2%. I showed you that they had those people taking 1% loans out because they were that fucking desperate in the housing market. You had people, like I said, these building companies, everything we're going to get into in a second here, these guys are all getting fucking hammered. Everybody is getting hammered right now. And it's funny because the government's sitting there, oh, it's the cheapest Thanksgiving. Well, we'll get into this in a second. But the Fed's right now, this is just today, you guys, and it's going to get worse. And that's like, this is them saying, as of right this moment, listen to this, as of right this moment, the Feds may need 4 years to recoup income loss. They're just fucking, like I said, they're burning money across the board. If you look over here, they're at a -1. They're losing money every month, every quarter, every day. They're just burning cash. They're burning cash. They're burning, like I said, the Feds are fucked right now. And on top of that, what's going on over here? Their unrealized losses are fucking skyrocketing. Skyrocketing. And they're going to get worse. And the thing is, they're going to look over and go, whoa, we're going to have to do rates. We're going to have to give more. We're going to have to raise rates. I think they're going to end up raising rates a little bit in 2024. Or they're definitely here to stay. If they drop, they're going to maybe a little bit. I mean, I doubt it. I highly fucking doubt it. But it's just going to put more and more pressure on them. So this is going to get harder and harder. And they're going to look over and say, well, the federal home loan program, I already showed you guys that. They're abusing the shit out of it by hundreds of billions. So when that comes due, you guys, they're going to look over at these guys and they're going to say, I don't have it. Okay, well, here's a huge loss. Or they're going to have to redo another one at a higher rate. Well, then what's going to happen? They're going to come over here and I'll go, all right, well, the bank bailout program. We need it back. Well, none of us fucking have it because they don't. And we'll get into that. I'll show you guys what's going on over there. It's sweet. Like I said, this is what we wanted, you guys. When it's darkest, they're going to smash you. It's always darkest before the dawn. They want to get out as many motherfuckers as they can. But the problem is like I said, retail is broke. But we're still putting every fucking penny we have. 4.3 billion in stocks was bought and 16 billion in options. Instead of us putting money away in the banks, guess what we're doing? We're putting it away in our meme stocks and stuff that we fucking believe in. We don't care what they're saying. All the trolls that came in my thing today. I haven't looked at the comments. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't looked at the comments, guys. But I guarantee you there's been trolls. Not one of them made anybody go, you know what? You're right. I'm going to take a massive fucking loss when AMC fundamentally next year should finally see all the fucking benefits and finally be profitable enough to the point where dilution is finally going to be off the table. And that's why I've been saying forever. We need to get to that point where dilution is no longer fucking necessary. And you do that with profits. Everyone that bitches, whines, and moans, I'm not going to go to the theater. I'm not... okay, I'm not going to fucking protect my investment. I'm not going to help it out. I'm not going to do anything. I've already given them enough. Okay, well, you know what? Guess who doesn't think that they've given enough? The shorts, the banks, the criminals. They're going to keep going until they can't. They're going to keep going until they get margin called. That's why I kept telling everybody, stop focusing on the minnows. Stop focusing on the hedge fund. Stop focusing on Citadel. Stop focusing on these idiots. Who bails out Citadel? The fucking banks and the feds. Who gives them credit? Who gives Citadel credit? The banks. Fuck them up. Fuck the people up. And eventually, guess what? Maybe not right now, please. Eventually, they're going to... Give me a second. Sorry. Eventually, what they're going to do is they're going to need to go to the guys that have the money because no one else fucking has the money. Because like I said, they're going to go to the bankers. We don't have it. They're going to go to the companies that they have all these loans out. Well, we don't fucking have it. They're going, bankruptcies are going crazy right now. We're going to get into that in a second. So eventually, they're going to start eating each other. Just like I showed you with SoftBank. SoftBank, if you listen to the last video, fucking Alibaba's stock's gone down $4 almost. So you've probably made money on the puts. So, not financial advice, but you probably made some money on the puts. Congratulations if you saw what's going on. Because like I said, sometimes when it comes to investing, when you see what's going on behind the curtains and you see who they're attacking, you know when to fucking buy a put on. So like I said, if you got in there and you made some cash, good, congratulations. But like I said, you guys, they're sitting there eating fucking each other. They're going after the only place that has liquidity. Each other. Now, like I said, the Fed, this is what we need. We need these fuckers bleeding. And they are. And we need us to keep just believe in the plan. Believe in what we've showed you. Like I said, it sucks, man. We're climbing Mount Everest. But when you get to the fucking top, oh my God, is it glorious. It's a hell of a fucking climb. It's a climb that only few will ever make. But you gotta fucking believe in what's going on. You can't tell me to... Here, let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this alone. There was 50 fucking million FTDs in the week. 50 million after. Where the fuck they go? Because there's no price movement. Don't tell me it went away in some... Okay, well, if it went away in an obligation warehouse, it's like Archegos. It's still something that can collapse somebody. It's obligations. It's still debt. It's still owed. Somebody still had to absorb it. And UBS is now getting fucked in the ass because they absorbed it. So somebody still, it doesn't disappear, guys. Somebody needs to be the next UBS. Somebody's got to take it. And somebody's got to take it. And eventually, no one will fucking take it. And that's what you need. It does not go away. These bullet swaps, these overnight, all this shit. They're using everything in their playbook, and they're still fucking losing because it's a Ponzi scheme. And the number one thing I've said forever, get the fuck out of them. They need your deposits to keep the scheme going. Get the fuck out of them. And tons of people are doing that. And now you're seeing banks get fucked, dude. On top of that, and here's the thing, and I want you guys to understand this before I go into the next thing. So, they're saying as of right now, they're saying if it doesn't get worse. Well, what is the one thing I showed you guys? $8 trillion is coming due in fucking treasury bonds next year. $8 trillion. The feds are going to get smashed. They're all going to get fucked. And the rates on all these new bonds and everything are going to go. And they're going to keep borrowing. And guess what? We're going to be paying over $2 trillion in interest. It will be our number one expense next year in the United States. We will pay more than it. We will pay more than we do on Medicare. Social Security. Like, what the fuck? That will be the debt of your government spending will be the number one expense of the country. And they're going to keep looking at you saying, who cares? Who cares if we're throwing $2 trillion out the window? Well, let me ask you this. You never have money to use on your citizens. You always have billions to send over to all these other countries. Those $2 trillion, if we could get rid of that in 1 year, what could $2 trillion do for your citizens when you tell us it's no big deal? It's no big deal. We could imagine if the government said, here's $2 trillion that we're not spending on interest and let's put it on our citizens. Think of the stimulus we could fucking have. Think of how much it could fix the economy. Think how many new businesses, everything could start back up. $2 trillion is a fucking ridiculous amount of money. And we're going to be throwing it out the window next year. Except what they're doing is not sustainable at any level. And on top of that, we removed the debt ceiling. So guess what? They just borrowed another $61 billion on Friday. On Friday of last week. On the 20th, yesterday, like I said, before December, the first week of December, you will be over $34 trillion in debt. In the first week of December. And at the rate we're going, we're borrowing like $100 billion a week almost. In some cases, more than that, they were at the prime, and their excuses were war and all this stuff. So this is enslaving your nation, no matter either way they put it. Because again, you're enslaving them through debt, you're enslaving them through taxes, you're enslaving them through inflation. And on top of that, you're letting these corporations price gouge people. So what the fuck? Something's going to have to give because you have too many videos. I don't know if you guys watch TikTok. I don't know if you guys watch Twitter. I don't know what you guys watch, but I guarantee whatever you go on, every single day you see more and more videos of somebody staring into a camera and they're crying because they can't afford anything. And then they say, I'm working 40 to 60 hours, or I'm working 60 hours, I'm working 2 jobs, and I still can't get by. And you're seeing more of that and more of that. And like I said, the problem is more and more and more and more and more people are going to eventually say, what the fuck is going on? And you're not going to be able to hide it. And the people that are bailing them out are getting fucked up the ass themselves, which is what I've wanted the whole time. This is what I've wanted for 2 years, 3 years. This is what I've wanted. This is what I've preached for 3 years. If we do this, we'll win. Next year, if we get AMC profitable, to where they're profitable and they're managing debt, they're not fucking diluting, and we're paying it at a discount. Next thing you notice, he has enough to go into something else that can make him more revenue streams, and we're not doing anything, no dilution needed. We still have over $1 billion cash in the bank. Like I said, there's so many things next year, and all this shit's mounting, and all these banks, they're going to have to repay these loans, and they're going to have to repay this and that, and everything is fucking mounting, and the people... the reason Phase 6 didn't work, I sat there and I'm like, dude, why aren't these other countries holding us accountable? We'll get into this in a second. These other countries are already so fucked, I don't even think they know what to do. I think what happened is when Phase 6 happened, they got to look behind the curtain. Like I said, they said, if we take these fuckers down because they're so entwined in everything else, we'll kill our own economy. So we can't do anything about it. And that is how these fuckers have gotten into everything and maintain power. Like I said, Jesus Christ, dude, the shit's crazy. But their ability, like I said, it's all relies on us just continuously paying our taxes, everybody working, everybody being okay with whatever the government says. And it's like, here, let me just show you this tab alone. Because like I said, this alone is ridiculous. Where is this dumbass? So Biden comes out and he's like, man, This is the 4th cheapest fucking Thanksgiving dinner ever recorded in history. The economy's great. Inflation's under control. Everything's good to go. Consumer price index for all urban consumers. All items in U.S. city average. So the average price is higher than it's ever been. The average price is higher than it's ever fucking been. We beat inflation. Every single time. Here we beat inflation. Look what they do. You see the smallest blip where it stops for 1 fucking millisecond. They go, we beat inflation. And then next thing you notice, whoop, look at this little dip here. Right here they go, hey, look, we got a small dip. Like the smallest dip in history. We beat inflation, you guys. Whoop. Okay. So right here, what they're going to do is they'll see prices drop for like a month. And then they'll fucking skyrocket right back up. And oh, wait, that already just happened. Sorry, they just announced it and prices just went down according to all of them. The prices just went down, even though I showed you they didn't. So they said we're beating inflation now, and they're not even waiting for the dip anymore. They're just like, we beat inflation. They're just flat fucking lying to you. So it's like, what's the 4th cheapest thing? So this is what they'll do to be able to say certain stupid things. They'll lower the price on turkeys, or cranberry sauce, or like 1 or 2 items. And they'll be, look at the price of this average fucking Thanksgiving meal. Well, okay, and then you're also using the lowest, cheapest brands. This is coming from idiots who tell us to not use gas stoves when that one chick put out a picture of her Thanksgiving dinner at a gas stove. Don't use gas stoves. They're bad. We need to donate to fucking the environmental health. Give me more money. Give me more money while she's using a gas stove. You guys don't use them, but I will. Okay, Kamala or whatever stupid fucking name is. But here's the thing. These banks are getting fucking smashed. Because we're going to keep borrowing. And this is right now. So this number right here, by the time it comes to, I'm going to say 3 months from now, the feds are going to say it's going to take us about 8 years to make this money up. They're not going to be able to bail them out. This is what I'm trying to get to, you guys. This is why I bring this up. This is why I've been bringing this up for years. You guys, it's not time. It's not fucking time. Because what we're trying to do is a MOAS. We're not trying to just fucking squeeze one. Everybody sits there and they talk about the Volkswagen. Oh, God, look at the Volkswagen. That was between like 2 fucking companies and it blew up like that. We're trying to squeeze out market makers. Corruption. We're trying to squeeze out the billions and billions and billions of the Rocks fans. No, but billions of these fucking synthetic shares. And all this stuff and all these swaps. We need these fuckers. We need these back-end swaps to where you have our Kikos blowing up. But these fuckers that are keep absorbing them, they need to go down. And they will. And that's exactly what's happening. Because again, it's all... We have more power than you guys think. Imagine if you went up to your family. Every one of you listening. Imagine if every single one of you went up to everyone in your family and every one of you got them to pull out of these major banks and go into a credit union or anything like that. Imagine if every single one of you did. And imagine if all of a sudden all of them that did it to everybody they knew and they did it to everybody they knew. What would that do to the banks? It would collapse them. It would collapse the whole fucking financial system if it went over and over and it spread like a virus. The only way they can stay solvent at this point, and I just showed you last video, in that last article, the feds are losing their ability to keep bailing these fuckers out, and this is what we needed. Citadel can fuck itself. Ken Griffin is a fucking criminal. He's gonna go to prison. I don't know when, but it's gonna fucking happen. It will happen. It will crash in his fucking face because he's a piece of shit. When they get rid of... We're going to get into something coming up here, and I think it could be a very, very important thing. If that auction passes, Ken Griffin can stick it up his ass. Like, he's fucked. And all of a sudden, he's not going to have this control in the market. He's not going to have this ability. And he's been acting like he's a bank, and he knows he has. And he's not a fucking bank. The shit that he said in 2008 that collapsed his company, that didn't go away. He's still doing all that illegal shit. And on top of that, pay back your $65 billion in securities sold not yet purchased, and then fucking talk to me. Where are you at, you piece of shit? He will go down. He will get his fucking day. And when he does, oh my God. when he does go to jail, because, oh my God, we're going to have some fun. He will go to jail. Fuck that guy. One way or another, that piece of shit is going to get exposed to the point. The fucking loser. Did you guys see that the other day? He paid some people in a movie, some shitty low budget movie, to say superhero Ken Griffin or super fun manager, whatever, some dumb thing. He's not the only super thing he is a fucking criminal. Super criminal, terrorist, financial terrorist. Ken Griffin is what she should say. And that's the thing. He goes, oh, fucking this GameStop movie fucking paid me as a bad guy. I got to pay for someone to make me look good. No, you're not going to get away. We will get that fucking loser too. But like I said, let's go back over to here for a second. Because the one thing that always collapses all empires and societies, fucking greed. And we're worse than every system. Our greed is in the trillions, you guys. Let me tell you something. American greed is in the trillions. No empire has ever gotten to the level of greed that we've been in, and greed has collapsed them all. Greed will collapse a society, and it already has. They're well under fucking way. Now, Wells Fargo to close 35 bank locations in months. As customers say, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy out here. Banking, basically, if you keep going on, the way that the world's working, the way people are figuring this out, and it's exactly what I told you guys. Everyone's going to run the money market funds. There's no reason for banks. They're pointless. All you need to do is have, a couple thousand in your bank, just enough to continuously pay your bills or whatever you need to do, because most people just have it on electronic payment. They're used to it. It's all set up that way. So whatever. But most people have enough just to go in there, and the rest of their money now, what are they doing? They're not holding it in fucking savings accounts, which is perfect. Don't hold it in a savings account to make 0.1%. They're putting it into their cause, or they're putting it into money market funds. Like I said, they're moving to credit unions finally to start getting these rates you guys should be making. Unfortunately, there's stupid ass brokers like Robinhood and shit like that now that are offering 5.5%, to where there are clowns that are buying shitty ass Robinhood stuff doing that, but they'll figure it out themselves. I highly recommend you don't do shit like that with these corrupt fucking brokers, but there are people that are getting away from banks and putting them into these 5.5%. Like I said, there's so many more options coming out. They're going into crypto. They're going into all of these. They're getting the fuck out of here. Everyone sees what's going on. Well, where's my mouse? Sorry. Well, if you guys look, in recent months, Wells Fargo has closed 61 branches. 61. And they got another fucking 35 to come. So they're about to close like 96 branches down. In recent months, Wells Fargo's closed 61 branches. In September, the institution closed 25, while another 15 shut down in October. And as of November 18th, they've closed down another 21. They're expected to carry out 4 more closures next month. And then after that, apparently 30, because they got 35 on the way. They're starting to lose these banks, the guys that are their creditors, and guess what? Credit is drying up. And that's what you need. You need credit for these hedge funds. You need credit for all of these people that are shorting you, the banks themselves, the market makers, the corruption. You need credit to dry up while all of their assets are going down and down and down, because that means their collaterals are going down. And guess what? They're hitting haircut levels. And guess what? They need more collateral now because their assets are dropping. And this is what you need. You have an opponent. AMC needed to go bankrupt for them to win. It's not fucking gonna. Or they needed to cover their shares. They haven't covered their fucking shares. I don't care what any of the fucking self-manipulated reported data shows you. It doesn't fucking matter. We know what's going on. We've seen no coverage of any of this. No price movement upward ever. And FTDs just disappearing by the millions. Okay. Here, we have 15% of the float. It was 15% of the float was an FTD. So you're telling me 15% of the float got bought and the price didn't move? What the hell? You're telling me we're at levels below when we're no longer burning hundreds of millions. We have $1 billion in reserve. We have tons of new revenue streams coming out. Like I said, who knows what we'll get into next year. There's, like I said, we will make billions and billions. We should make billions more next year. Billions more next year. Billions. off the lineup alone, off the alcohol, off all the new, like I said, off all the new revenue streams alone. That should bring in billions for us, especially if he's legitimately talking to 7 and he expects 7 releases in 2024 and 2025. Don't tell me AMC getting an extra 1.5 billion of something that wasn't even part of their main revenue stream when we were in 2023, which is their theaters themselves. That's not going to change things alone. They could use half of that alone next year and just pay fucking debt down at a discount. And then also next thing you notice that 2026 is very manageable. So everybody that says it's insurmountable, like I said, imagine if they make 1 or 2 movies and they actually make a couple $100 million off that. That's just like an equity raise. There's plenty of things that can happen next year, but we're all set up to do that. Just like I said, let the motherfucker cook, dude. To have a company losing hundreds of millions of dollars to positive, like I said, people were told a gift wrap story that this will take 1 fucking day. Well, if it was that easy to stop politicians, bankers, corruption, and all the shit, guess what? Do you think they're going to let us? They're not going to just go down without a fight. They're going to go down fucking kicking and screaming. Because if they let you do it once, they're going to go out and go, well, if we let them fucking just destroy us without having no other choice, they're going to do it again and again. Of course we are. You're going to get fucked over and over. We figured out your Ponzi scheme, and you're fucked no matter what you do. Because, like I said, I don't care if you have 1 or 2 or 3 trolls drop into this thing and go, oh, people are selling, fucking, oh, it's over. No, you're just retarded and impatient. You want to whine at others and blame others because you went into something you didn't fully understand. And if you have watched my channel for years, I've told you this forever. You are climbing a fucking mountain. This is not going to be something quick for you. This is not something quick. You're going to be in this fucking play. And the way you win is you cut the head off the fucking snake, and then you go ahead and make your company profitable. You take bankruptcy off the table, and you fucking let them smash that debt down, and then everybody wants to go, well, GME, well, guess what? Eventually, that's the thing with GME. It's going to keep going up. Everybody's calm over there because guess what? They have nothing to worry about. People over in GME, they're not over there fucking going crazy every fucking day. They don't need to watch line. They don't give a shit. They know what they fucking hold. Their company has 0 chance of bankruptcy. They have 0 debt. They're chilling. And people sit there, look over and go, fundamentals don't matter. How do you get to that state? How do you pay that debt down? If you don't want to do it through dilution, you need your fucking fundamentals to turn around. You need to make more than what you're spending, and you need to be able to pay down debt. It's logic. If you can't fucking understand that, get out of the market after this. Get the fuck out, because if you don't understand that, this is not the place for you. Like I said, guys, it's been in front of us the whole time, and the problem is you watch these fucking clowns, like I showed you earlier, and you watch these idiots like fucking Matt Kors. So here's my point to these guys. The movement started, and we had people that knew nothing about finance, and then they look over and go, they found a gold nugget, but they didn't understand what they found. It's like they found a rock, but they didn't do any research on the rock, but then they walk up and tell you it's gonna squeeze in a week. It'll squeeze next week. And then I told you guys, stop watching these fucking idiots and hopium, because eventually it's gonna wear on you. Because they're gonna tell you every time it's this, and this. And when I have said I think this will do something, like phase 6, and that's the funny thing. In 3 years, that's all people can say to me. Oh, you got phase 6 was wrong. Sorry, I underestimated the world corruption. And then I've showed you why I underestimated the world corruption. Because I didn't realize the whole world was fucked. I should have. But here we are. Guess what? We learned together. But like I said, when you watch these guys like Jerry DeHonahue, all this whatever, Ethan, all of these idiots that don't even read. And this is why my show before used to sit here, and all I did was debunk these morons. Because all they do is they form a narrative, they get a group of people that watch it, and then they fucking spread it like a fucking virus, no matter what they say. They don't read the whole document. They'll look for one word and say, here's proof. Look at this one fucking document. A lot of them in that lawsuit, look at all this shit that they said. Yeah, it was their fucking their lawyers on what they said was wrong with the case. It doesn't mean it's real. All this shit, most of the shit they were accusing them, well, look at this, says it right here. It said that their court lawyer said. Great. Guess what? My court lawyer can come in and say fucking anything I want him to say. Doesn't mean I'm going to win the case. But like I said, man, you're going to hit this as hard as you can if you are hedge funds. If you're our opponents right now, you want to bring it to an all-time low before, like I said, before we start seeing this profits. Dune 2 moving it back. Like I said, Dune 2 moving it back. Think about this. If we didn't have Dune 2, or if we would have had Dune 2, we would have easily crushed it this fucking quarter. Just December alone, I could have easily seen this $1 billion fucking quarter. Easily. Or month, not quarter, month. $1 billion month. Easily. But, like I said, we don't have any more of those problems. Like, all these things we had problems. The number one thing we need as a movie theater company is content. So we're finally getting that back, guys. But, like I said, let's get back into this. So, on top of that, so like I said, Wells Fargo's getting fucking smashed. I put that up earlier today. And then you come over here. Over 60 U.S. bank branches filed to shutter in 1 week. 1 week, guys. People, like I said, credit's going to keep drying up. It's going to get harder and harder and harder for these guys to keep getting these passes. These people that are doing all the bullshit because they just want to collect fees, because that's what all they have left is, hey, we got to keep opening up contracts and live off fees. Fees aren't going to make it forever. Eventually, you're, like I said, you're going to keep getting fucked. You're going to keep losing out on mortgage units. A lot of ways that these banks were making money, it's disappearing. And on top of that, like I said, keep taking your money out of these banks, guys. Get the fuck out. They use the money in your account to use it against you in the stock market. Why would I give a criminal my money so he can use it against me? Just get the fuck out of it. Keep going. Now, douchebag, fucking douche, Ken, terrorist prisoner, who, little Kenny boy here. So he's been saying exactly what I'm saying. I'm not going to play it. We don't need to hear his stupid fucking voice. Just look at his big ass nose quick. Look at the size of his nose. That alone, dude. I wish I could blow this. Look at that thing. Look at that schnauzer, dude. Holy schnauzer. Look at that thing, dude. But either way, like this loser's fucking saying. You know when these pieces of shit are now coming out and telling it? It's because they want people to kind of put it in the back of their mind. Be like, it's not a big deal, like he says. But, you know, just so you guys kind of know, mid-sized banks, it's going to be real tough because deposits, they're getting increasingly competitive because everybody's finding out we're fucking Ponzi schemes and we're all over-leveraged 12,000 fucking to 1. So they're not giving us our money anymore. So, you know, these mid-sized banks that have commercial real estate problems that are going to be coming up, they're going to go under because people are already leaving these banks at a rapid pace. So the only time I've ever agreed with this fucking loser and this schnauz, look at this thing one more time. Look at that thing. He goes, no shaming. I had to, Joey. Look at that thing, man. But like I was telling you guys, everybody's going to keep moving to money market funds. And they said trillions more are going to leave the banks in 2024. Like I was telling you guys, 2024 is the year we should start finally feeling good, you guys. Their backers are going to get fucked. The feds at that point are going to have so many problems on their hands. They're not going to be able to deal with these fucking guys or bail them out and or give them any of this shit. Our profit should be 10 times what we're making now. Like I said, we should start being able to be profitable enough to manage debt. Next year is a very, very good year for us. Like I showed you guys earlier, or talked about earlier, Baba, if you guys have been paying attention, SoftBank is killing them. They just hit a 52-week low. So like I said, if you guys listened on that, gotta put congratulations. Now, next year, they're at an all-time high of 5.73 trillion. Now look at this, you guys. Since the start of the year, over $1 trillion has left the banking system. It was 1.2 trillion. So since the start of the year, 1.2 trillion has left the banking system and went into money market funds. And those rates are going to keep going up higher and higher because our government spends. So it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And like I said, the snakes are getting suffocated, and that's what we needed. Top of that, if you keep looking over here, what you're now seeing is more and more bubbles bursting in other countries. So you have HSBC, and as we know, when you look at the bonds over shores and how many billions of dollars that will hit the United States banking system, will be catastrophic on top of the losses and everything else they're currently having. So right now they're saying that they're bracing for a catastrophic $6.3 billion hit. Now, I was showing you guys about the shadow banking system in China. It manages trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Well, you're going to start seeing a ripple effect throughout the system and all these banks. It's going to be pretty bad over there. I don't know if you guys have been watching China right now, but they're having more problems than anyone I've seen other than Japan. Japan, they're fucked, but China's getting real close, dude. But another, like I was talking about with the Chinese bank, I showed you last week, there was the one that went insolvent. There's another major one that went insolvent again today. This was 2 days ago. Well, this is a $2.9 trillion shadow banking sector. They said that they said for this number, only 5% of this is monitored. So that's what they know about. If only 5% of this is monitored and they only know of 2.9 trillion, what's the real number, you guys? It's ridiculous. You're starting to see banks get removed from too big to fail. Now, one of the things I want you guys to remember now with UBS, I was showing you with UBS, and they're getting just destroyed. Do you guys remember? Well, they were talking about before I get whatever. We'll get in. Well, UBS was talking about how if we go under, we want to be bought by a private seller. Well, why the hell would you say that unless you're about to go under? And then the CEO says the same thing that they said in Lehman Brothers. We're the strongest we've ever been, and then they're about to go down. Like I said, UBS, you wouldn't come out and talk about a default unless you're literally thinking about a default. Well, isn't that funny, you guys? If you go back 3.5 weeks ago, you remember that I showed you guys that there was a thing in the UK, and they said that they were going to start to do a ban and a restriction on banks, on bank deposits, so there would be no bank runs. Well, now that you're hearing UBS is about to go under, does that not seem like a coincidence on the bank runs? Like I told you guys, you could only have one or two of these small banks. And this is the thing. People are so focused on if that's $6, $7. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Until our goal is met, who cares? Now you can buy more at a cheaper price. People that have high-ass fucking averages, guess what? If you're buying it at $6, $6.60, $6.80, your average is going to drop pretty fucking dramatically, pretty quickly. Like I said, guys, if you believe everything, and I know it's frustrating, and I know it's fucking hard as shit, and like I said, man, if you believe you can get to the climb, the view is worth it. We need each other to get to the top. We need each other. Like I said, for every one troll, I see 15 people on Twitter showing me they're still buying. OBV volume shows me we're still buying. There's order imbalances on the New York Stock Exchange every fucking day on buy side. I don't know if you guys have been watching the order imbalances, but there are more order imbalances daily on AMC than I've ever seen in any stock in the history of ever. They are every single day having a fucking order rebalance on AMC. It is to the point of stupidity. Like, what are we doing here? You're telling me that there's constantly more buyers than sellers. Okay, if every other day there's more buyers than sellers and you can't fill the orders, shouldn't that make the price go up? That is the literally definition of supply and demand. If there is demand there and you're having an order rebalance and there's demand but there's no supply, that means the price should be fucking skyrocketing to the point so people want to sell to create supply. That is what you tell me the market runs off supply and demand, correct? So why are we having order imbalances every day on AMC? And why is there more people buying than selling? And why is there no price reflecting it? I mean, I can literally show you every fucking day there's an order imbalance on AMC. It is to the point of stupidity. That's one of the things that pisses me off. Like, okay, so we have order imbalances every fucking day, but no price movement upward. So you're telling me people are willing to buy at this price, but no one's willing to sell at the price? Well, logically, to get them to sell, you would raise the fucking price to entice them. Because no one's obviously selling at this price, so why would they sell at a lower price? Again, there's no reason AMC logically should be trading lower than it was trading when the fucking doors were shut. When we were burning hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, what? On top of that, you got more pain coming to these corporations, which this is what we needed to see. This is the type of stuff you love to see. U.S. companies are barreling towards a $1.8 trillion wall of maturing corporate debt on their bonds. So they're going to need to renew these at a higher rate. Well, guess what that's going to do? That's going to eat away profits. And when you're talking $1.8 trillion and renewing at a higher rate, $1.8 trillion at a higher rate is a lot of fucking money. You're talking a lot of profits. So again, next year, you're going to see more pressure. I'm telling you, next year is everything's lining up to the point where it's not rules. It's not regulations that need to change. It's the system collapsing on itself to the point where, and next year, and on top of that, we should be profitable and everything aligning to where we don't need a rule change. We just need to let them eat themselves. We need to let everything just handle out and turn around like it's all set up to do. More and more pressure is going to keep mounting on these fuckers. So what they're going to try and do is squeeze us out in the economy. They're going to go ahead and try and get unemployed. They're going to need a recession because we're going to get into the housing market in a second. And I'm telling you, it's worse than I thought. I didn't even realize it was this bad. Well, what's about to happen is stupid. And I'll get into that in a second. But this is something that should be talked about nonstop when you get into the housing market shit. Like, it's even worse than what I was showing you before. It's so fucking stupid. Breaking. Short sellers hedge funds have lost approximately $43 billion over the last few days. So again, we're not the only ones taking hits right now. I know a lot of people are down. But like I said, we needed everything to turn in our favor, and that's exactly what's starting to happen. We need the people who are lending to these fucks to get fucked, and they're finally doing it. We need the Federal Reserve to stick it up their ass to the point where they can't bail them out, and that is where they're getting to. We need AMC profitable, and we have the best lineup we've had in fucking 5 years coming up. I mean, honestly, chat, I'm just kind of curious. I'm just curious. Do you guys not think Deadpool 3 next year alone, could that not be a $500 billion domestic movie? Do you not think Deadpool 3 could do that? Let me ask you this one. Do you think Lord of the Rings could do that? Because I know Lord of the Rings has one of the biggest followings ever. Like, people love the Lord of the Rings. I'm just curious. I mean, I could easily see those fucking movies doing $500 million domestically. Easily. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. Everyone's just crabby. But like I said, guys, on top of this, you're having more and more people coming after these banks, JP Morgan Chase, because they're continuously, like I showed you, closing down accounts. Without warning, they're just closing people's accounts down and taking their money. Again, get the fuck out of them. JP Morgan Chase accused of severely damaging a multi-million-dollar business, blocking transactions and triggering mass account terminations. They're now facing a $600 million defamation lawsuit. Good. Fuck them. I hope they lose. Pieces of shit. Like I said, people are going to start figuring out, start suing these guys, start holding these fuckers accountable because, like I said, these guys are doing criminal shit. They don't have the money. You can't go there and even take out $10,000. They don't have it. If your bank tells you they can't give you $10,000 and you got to sit there and do all these requests, and that should bother you, that you can't walk into a bank and they just don't have 10 grand in the back. They don't have all this money to where, all right, well, I can give you it. Yeah, they got 10 grand in the back, but they can't. Like I said, these fuckers, when COVID came and they were able to go to 0% restriction, dude, they're spending everything. There we go. Can you guys hear me now? Fixed it. Testing, 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 testing. There we go. I think you can hear me. I apologize, guys. I don't know what the hell that was. All right. Now, I don't know what you guys heard. What was the last thing you guys heard? Yeah, apparently my mic went out, and I don't know. It suddenly said it couldn't read my device, even though I didn't move it or nothing, so I don't know what that was. Alrighty, we back. Alright, so I'm going to get back into this. I don't know if you guys heard, but... So SEC adopted a financial crisis-inspired rule barring traders in asset-backed securities from betting against the same assets that they're selling to investors. It's supposed to be the next biggest thing since the Dodd-Frank Act. So even the SEC is getting to the point where they're like, dude, we got to start fixing some of this shit. This is getting to a point of ridiculous. People are figuring out too much stuff. If we can get the auction rule in, if we can get this rule in, like I said, there's a lot of changes that need to be made, but this is going to be one of the biggest rules changes since. So I want to go ahead and post this here real quick so people can get this. Here you go. Oh my god. It's not letting me send the stupid thing. Jesus Christ. Well, I guess here, Google this and I'll pull it up. Google this and I'll pull it up. Apparently it's too big to post in my chat. But either way, this is a new set of rules that are coming through. I want people to, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go into this. I'll do it my next video. I'll start out with this. I just didn't want to make this a 2-hour video. But this is going to be the next set of rules that they are adopting. And like I said, this is going to be, it involves shorting, credit default swaps. This involves a whole bunch of things. So this is actually going to be a very, very big change. So I do want to go ahead and make a video on this next. But if you can, like I said, guys, Google this, read this update. I'll go ahead and pull the rule and everything up, the actual filings on it next time. But like I said, changes are coming, guys. There's no way in hell that they can hide this Ponzi scheme anymore. And like I said, we're pulling out, and all the guys that need their backing are getting fucking flushed out. You even had Ortex calling them out the other day. It was hilarious. But this is the thing, because the government, like I said, they're in such a bad place, because if you don't have enough people in middle class, you don't have enough income. And if you don't have income, you're losing cash like crazy. And on top of that, you're already losing money to where it's going to take years and years and years before you can ever recover, if you ever can recover. And that's if you start to do a path of recovery today. Well, let's be honest, they're not going to do a path to recovery today. So it's going to take longer and longer and longer than the 4 years that they're talking about. Easily. So on top of that right now, you have basically your middle class is gone. Half of all American workers made less than $41,000 last year. Think of how insane that is. Prices have skyrocketed. I showed you guys there's more people now that have 2 jobs than ever in the history of the United States. So and so it's like, you guys, like I said, this is getting to the point where everything is unsustainable for everybody. Nobody can afford anything. And when you start doing this, you have no, like I said, you have no income taxes coming in. They're going towards a lot of problems here. More Americans saw their disposable income decline in 2022 than in any preceding 7 years. Like I said, guys, 58% of them had a decrease instead of an increase. They can't keep doing what they're doing. This is getting worse and worse and worse, and it's causing, like I said, their own companies, which makes them rich, and which is what their assets are back behind, collapse, and that's exactly what you need. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck heading into the holidays. Black Friday shoppers, so a lot of people are talking about Black Friday and how it was a record-breaking thing, and then they showed all these pictures and fake this and that. And one of the things I do want to point out is they're saying, well, everybody did it online. But one of the things I thought was really interesting is you had $9.8 billion spent online, but 72% was buy now and pay later option. So all of these people that don't have money are using buy now, pay later. They're already defaulting on their credit cards, and 9.8 billion just got purchased that they can't afford, and they're using buy now, pay later. Well, what happens when they default on that money? Like I said, people are defaulting on their credit cards. If you look at credit card delinquencies, we're at a higher rate than they were back in 2008 after the financial crisis. So, like I said, guys, situation is getting worse and worse and worse. People are waking up and waking up and waking up to what's going on. I showed you the consumer price index. It's at an all-time high. So they continuously lie about inflation and how they're ahead of it when it's worse than ever. One of the things I want to talk about is how are people getting by now. Actually, this is really sad to see. You have people you're having a 30% increase. That's huge. A 30% increase in loans and hardship withdrawals from 401ks. So basically, everybody's starting to dip into their 401ks, which, you guys, like I said, that's very scary. The average now is down to 107,000 in 401ks. It went down 5%, which is a lot. They also said that it would equal about $448.75 dollars in your retirement month. So basically, in your retirement age, that's the equivalent of $500 a month that they just lost out on. If you guys look down here, like I said, it went up 28%, right around 30%. The other one says 30. This says 28. But it says that the number one reasons people are doing is to avoid foreclosures or evictions and medical expenses. And why do I talk about that is because the housing market crisis is worse than anybody thought, because right now everybody's dipping into their 401k. So people are going to have to make a choice on either retire or keep their home. Well, if you come over here and read this, it says a record percent, 40% of all homes currently don't have a mortgage, which means they were paid off or paid in cash. Now, who bought up all of those homes? BlackRock. The feds have 2.7 trillion in mortgage-backed securities. Well, guess what? They paid with cash. So that means 40% of homes, there's 0% chance that those guys are going to sell their houses. They're not going to do it in a market like this and pay that kind of interest on a new home. So this means basically your supply is not going anywhere anytime fast. So it's not coming back. Your supply is getting worse. I showed you building new homes has slowed down and slowed down and slowed down because it's the least affordable for these guys to make these homes because they're not making much profit off it. And on top of that, they're taking a long time to sell these houses and they need to pay their workers. So construction has slowed down massively on these homes. Well, like I said, if you're already taking 40% off of the market, this is bad news because these guys are going to hold these homes and they're not going to take losses on these houses. So like I said, supply is not going anywhere. Right now you have a 30-year they're saying housing market is, like I told you before, it's hitting a deadlock. It's complete standstill because you're not going to get any new inventory. Nobody's going to refinance. So you're going to have that much less on top of the 40%. Well, nobody's going to move or nobody's going to say, well, I'm going to go pay this for this new house. Like I said, I can't remember what it was like 56%. I should have pulled it back up. It was like 56% of mortgages that are currently in existence are under 3% as well. So basically your inventory is going to, I don't see how it's coming back unless you drop these prices. But the problem is the only way you drop some prices is going to be through supply. Well, there's going to be no supply, period, because nobody will sell. And on top of that, 40% is basically locked in. So I don't know what's going to happen here with the housing market, but it's with rates going next year. I feel like I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know how it's going to come down because I don't know what supply is going to come. What they've been showing now is what they're doing is building these very small houses. And they're selling these very small houses. And now, for $200,000, $220,000 at 5%, but they're super small houses. Well, they're trying to use those numbers now to bring the average down and be like, oh, housing prices went down, but yet the average is still over 410,000. So like I said, the housing market, a lot of these guys are going, the only way you're going to see inventory, but what I was talking about with all that, the only way you're going to see inventory is these people that are getting foreclosed or evicted. And once they kick these renters out, Guess what? How many people can afford rent? Maybe they're not going to be able to afford somebody in, and you're going to see defaults on houses that people bought to rent out. So that's going to be, or foreclosure. So that's the only way you're going to start getting supply. So what they need is a recession at this point for the housing market to ever come back down, because the only way you're going to get it down is unemployment and more foreclosures. So the housing market is pretty fucked. I didn't realize it was this high of percentage of people without a loan, and then on top of that, that high of a percentage of people with a loan that are under 3% that will never refinance or never buy a new home. They're pretty much like, fuck it, I'm staying where I'm put. So the housing market's just going to get worse and worse, and I just don't ever see how a supply is going to come back, guys. Banking on top of that, I showed you when it comes to these homes, the limited supply. If you do want to get one, they're going to need the 20% up front, or they're not going to give you the loan. They're now taking a loss on every home loan that they give. And if you guys look, like I said, we're at recessionary levels at this point. Lending, it's off the hook. And this is what you wanted to see. Like I said, these guys can't keep going to these guys for collateral and lending and credit. Credit's drying up everywhere. And like I said, but for us, the thing that sucks is it's going to be harder for us to get loans, to get homes. And like I said, since it's already so much harder for people to get these houses, like I said, anyone that's looking into the housing market, I don't see it getting better anytime soon. So if you're waiting for something, I don't know if, that's the best route to go here. But I do want to show you guys one more thing, because there's a person that I do want us to look into, and then I'm going to get into one more thing after this, and then we're all done here. So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys is they're going after Binance, they're going after FTX, they're going after all the crypto guys, and they're taking them down one by one. And I wanted a lot of people to understand what they're trying to do is get their CBDCs or their tokens in. Well, one of the things that I read the other day, and I thought this was actually very interesting, is there's this guy, because we like to call out Brett Harrison. Well, there's another guy that keeps bouncing around from company to company to company, and one of the things that's fucked up is I read about this guy, and I want you guys to read more about this dude. His name is Noah Perlman. Let me post this here quick. But one of the things that really stuck out to me, and why I really wanted to cover this, because I hate all of these fucking pieces of shit. All these people, these pedos, they just gotta go. His dad, I want you guys to listen to this. His fucking dad was super good friends with Epstein Island. Okay, like they were like good ass buddies. Well, he was in the he was a special coordinator for crimes against children at the time. Okay, while his dad was out here being best fucking friends with Epstein. Well, if you guys come down here and it talks about his dad actually had a key role in targeting children in 2004. Like, he had a house, he had like a fucking camp and shit, and it was set up to fucking get these chicks, these girls. It is so fucked up. And this dude gets, like I said, this guy is a piece of fucking shit. And then he has ties to FTX. He worked with FTX. He leaves them before the collapse. He worked with Genesis. He ended up doing a shady fucking deal with Genesis. He actually ended up doing this thing where he bought this bank, and it had a key Ponzi scheme role set up with FTX. So this guy is a piece of fucking trash. Just a complete work. Well, since they took the CEO down of Binance, guess who's fucking getting the power? This piece of shit. Corruption at its finest, dude. So I want you guys to understand what's going on here and what their ultimate goal is, and that's the last thing I'm going to get into here before we get out of this. But listen to this. And I told you guys this is what they wanted to do. If we took CBDCs away because there's no way out for them, they'll try their hardest to get tokens in. Now listen.
That are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, heavy beneficial seller. We all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement.
So what they're going to do, like I told you, is they're going to try their hardest to get CBD, or they're going to try to get tokens in, which are just wholesale CBDCs, the same fucking thing, but they're going to relabel it. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get tokens in, which are just CBDCs, and what they're trying to do to make us fool us, to make us look the other way, is they're saying, all right, well, I showed you last week, they issued a treasury bond for the first time in the form of a CBDC. Well, guess what happened yesterday? Nope, wrong one. Zerk issues digital bond using a wholesale CBDC. So they're going to use CBDCs and talk about how they're the bad guys. Oh, it's just between, these two guys and this. And then they're going to say, well, we also have tokens, which are different. They're going to say they're different things, but they're not. They're no fucking difference. And then they'll put them on ledgers. Well, we already showed you guys they can manipulate ledgers. There's also things called chameleon technology where you can edit fucking blockchain. So it's not like it's this foolproof thing that they want to sit there and try and pretend to everybody. But I want to show you this here quick too. Just to show you what I'm talking about. $11 trillion investor group backed by UK's government publishes plans for fund tokenization. The UK will now start it out. They will get in as much as they can. This will be a massive deal because it'll have trillions of dollars in it. Trillions of dollars in it. This came out 2 days ago. And this is how it'll start. They'll start it off here. Other countries, we will adopt it as fast as possible right after. BlackRock will be in charge of it. And BlackRock will be, like I said, it's a complete fucking gong show. But new report. A working group with over $11 trillion in assets under its management lays out a plan to implement tokenization funds or funds with digital shares that trade on blockchain. That's exactly what I just had Larry Fink read to you. Tokenization funds issue tokenized shares or units to represent the investors. Listen to this. Tokenization funds issue token shares or units to represent the investors' interest in them and are generally traded and recorded on a ledger rather than a traditional system of records. Ultimately, tokenized funds are intended to provide a way to interact with increasingly digitalized capital markets. Okay, well then technically they should make us have no fees, right? That was the one I wanted to show you, but where was it? I had another tab up. Damn it. I had another tab up. I can't remember what I was talking about with the NFT or with the tokens here. I must have closed it. But whatever, like I was saying, they're trying to get this tokenization in as fast as possible, and they're going to try and keep up their charade, their bullshit with the stock market and with everything else. But it's not going to work, dude. It's not going to work. There's no way at this point. Like I said, it's just too many eyes at this point. Too much shit is going on. Maybe they'll try and do it because I don't think UK, over in the UK as much. They're as awake as we are at this point to what they're trying to do. We're going to try and fight back and make sure. But like I said, guys, make sure you let everybody know. Tokenization is their next fucking CBDC, and that's what they're all trying to do. It's just rebranded. And I told you right away, they're going to just fucking rebrand it to something else. And what do you know? A couple weeks later, tokenization comes out. And that's the thing. When they issue treasury bonds that are tokenized, that's issuing debt of a debt. I mean, think about that. I issued debt on a debt. Yeah, that's not going to have any trouble behind it. But like I said, dude, this is their plan. This is what they want to do. They've been trying to get these CBDCs in forever. But we had all of our legislations. We had all these people go crazy about it. And they knew they couldn't get their way. So now what they're trying to do is rebrand them. And then what they're going to do is re-talk to the public like he's doing right now. Oh, it's just tokenization. It's everything's fine. It's not a CBDC. It's completely different. It's different than crypto. It's a token. Okay. So it's just called a fucking different thing. But exactly like he said, They want everything to be fucking tokenized. They can do everything in a fucking tokenized cloud. Well, think about this. If you have all these people that have only these people that have access to a cloud, where do you think manipulation is going to happen? This cloud will become what, you guys? What have I shown you? Where do they cheat? The CNS program. You're just going to have, this is basically netting. So they say it'll be okay because they're going to do a netting program with the cloud system called the CNS program. And just like in the real world CNS program, don't worry, we're not going to cheat or do anything wrong. We're not going to set up rules or do anything so we can manipulate the data inside the cloud. And then what we're not going to do is go, well, here's one cloud, here's another cloud, here's another cloud. Well, this cloud will only have so much information that will sell to retail. This cloud will have more information like a Bloomberg terminal. And then this cloud will have all of the information for the bankers. And then this cloud will have all the information for the highest ups. So in other words, only certain people are going to be able to see certain lines of data. There'll be no manipulation in that whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? Same shit with the new coding on it. And then the last thing, yeah, but that was it. That's all. Oh yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to show you guys, because I always like to call out some more criminality quick. I showed you guys a while ago about CoreWeave and Nvidia and how Nvidia actually bought CoreWeave. They own CoreWeave, and then they bought their own chips with CoreWeave so they could add supply. Well, this guy did some more digging, and all credit to him because I knew about CoreWeave before, but they do this now with 8 businesses. They have 8 businesses that they buy, all that are supposed to be in AI. Then they buy these companies up. They then use all this money and stuff to buy Nvidia chips. And then they run all of their stuff in these companies off Nvidia, and they say they're for AI. So they need all of these chips for AI. So AI is not as big of a booming industry as they want you guys to believe it is. Because basically, the people they're buying their own shit. And that's why Nvidia, their CEO, went running for the hills and sold all of that stock. Because they're literally sitting here. See what I'm saying? So we already talked about CoreWeave. How they raised $2.3 billion, and then they ended up buying it in chips. So then they went and bought it in fucking chips. Well, look at all these companies. None of these companies are worth even close to this. You got a $1.3 billion valuation. Good one. So guess what? Nvidia basically gave them that, and then they went in return, bought Nvidia stock. Then they gave them a $350 million. Well, what happens when all of these and AI and all this stuff starts to lose value because people find out that it's not as in demand as they want to fucking make people believe? All of these chips that they're selling, they're buying to themselves. Their margins might go way down because there's not that supply, that demand that they're talking about, and they own all the supply themselves because they own the fucking companies that are buying them. But here's the list of all 8 of their companies that they're doing and basically cooking the books with. So if you guys want to go ahead and look into these, we always like to expose criminality, but yes, Nvidia is completely cooking the shit out of their books with shell companies that they own. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys, because I always talk about this, but I never really showed an example. So, last thing I'm going to get into. These rich guys, they want to act like they're helping the world. They want to make it sound like, oh my God, we do such great things and blah, 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 blah. And we donate billions and billions and billions of dollars. They write headlines like this. Bill Gates made 2022's biggest charitable donation, $5 billion. Holy fuck, $5 billion. And then you go ahead and you read in, who the hell did he give it to? Did he give it to really good causes? Who did he give it to? He gave it to himself. And this is what I told you guys forever. This is how they avoid taxes. They pay 15% of taxes compared to the rest of us on billions of dollars. So what he does is he gives himself $5 billion to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What the fuck? So first he talks about how he's making this huge donation to charity. I'm donating $20 billion to charity, he says. But it all went to his charity. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, his charity does some good stuff. Well, first of all, he gave $20 billion. He owed $15 billion that he promised a year before that. So out of the $20 billion, he gave $15 billion backed up that he pledged from his own charity before. So he said he was going to get it, got the tax write-off, paid his fucking, used that money for another year to make interest and do whatever he wanted, and then gave him that money a year later. Okay, well, how would you guys like to fucking do that on your taxes? Well, guess what else he does? He only needs to donate 15% of this to his charity, and then guess what he can do? It's a nonprofit. It's a fucking, I don't think it's it's not a nonprofit. So he has to give up 15% of that. So out of this $5 billion he gave to this foundation, he only needs to use 15% of that $5 billion towards it, and then he just puts the rest back in his fucking bank account. So they pay themselves, they get tons of cash, donate it to their own fucking charities, use it as a tax write-off, get a whole tax write-off for that amount, then they use 15% of it to donate to their charity, and then they just pocket the fucking remaining amount of it. It's a gong show. And then they sit there and go, I'm the greatest guy in the world. I gave billions of dollars to charity. And they're sitting there, what a great guy. He's one of the greatest guys out there. He's out there giving billions of dollars. One of the most charitable guys out there, Bill Gates. Most charitable guy out there. He gave up billions of dollars to him fucking self. What a charitable guy. But I just wanted to show you guys an example because I always talk about it, but I never show you guys anything about it. But like I said, what a fucking gong show. You know what I mean? Oh, I donate billions to my own foundation. All right, everybody, though, I'm going to get going. I know my wife wants me to go make her some dinner. So thank you guys for listening. But we are going to get into these new rules because they are massive changes next time with the SEC here. I do really, really want to get into this because, like I said, this is a new rule. It's one of the big, it could be a huge fucking change. If this is truly implemented, this could be a massive, massive change. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Like I said, everybody relax. Let it play out. Like I said, next year we should start seeing the fruits of our labor and we should start seeing profits to where, like I said, dilution should finally be off the table. I showed you, like I said, 15 great movies, 20 great movies that are better than almost all the ones in this year. So plenty more that I didn't name. So like I said, guys, box office should be next full effect next year. All of our new revenue streams. Let's go. But thank you guys for listening and have a good day.